Hello and welcome to the multiplayer game system version 4 tutorial series. In this one we will be adding a new weapon. Let's get started. So I looked inside my library and this is the only one I could find with 425 in it. I mean, you can, in theory, you can use any weapon simply because they are an art asset, so it shouldn't matter. But we noticed some issues with the map when we added 424. It wasn't issues as such. I think he had some blueprint inside his map, and that what caused the editor not to compile correctly. And something with the light map. So yeah, so 425, just to keep things nice and easy. Let's add to our project. Let's see, from the 12th, that's the one. Add to project, and there we go. So we have it here. Now a lot of those things we don't actually need, like the first person arms and stuff like that. Blueprints, I don't know what's inside those, so let's not bother. I know that maps we don't need, so we can delete the maps. We will do some house cleaning later. Let's see, what's particles? Rifle. Ooh, muzzle flash, nice. Okay. Okay, here we go. Now I see it. Okay, nice. So we can use that instead of the default one that I have. Anyway, so let's look at the rifle. First thing I noticed that we don't have a static mesh. We do need a static mesh for the rifle. Just like the head, all what you need to do is bring it to the level, right click and say convert to a static mesh. Let's put it in the same place inside the rifle, and let's call it SM underscore. Oh, he only called it rifle. Okay, let's call it maybe M4 rifle. I don't know if it's an M4 or not, but something to make it a little bit descriptive. Maybe even this one we can change it to M4 rifle. Let's open this up, because if you look at it, you know, the collision primes, it says 0, so we do need a collision box around it. So let's do that box. Yeah, let's do a box. Just simple, nothing fancy. We only need the collision box for the inventory, because basically I use the collision box from the static mesh to read all the values like damage and, you know, like all the stats. So we need that. Now we can delete this. Now let's go to our mighty DT items and let's do a new one, call it M4 rifle. I will copy this because we will need it later to specify which weapon we want to add to the level. So let's call it M4 rifle, and its type weapon, description, powerful rifle, whatever. Icon, okay, let's get an icon. Let's see, show grid. We don't want to show the grid. Let's see if I can somehow. I don't think that I'm gonna get it the way that I actually want it to look like. So I'll just leave it like that. So make a square if you can, and let's go to our paint. Paste it, crop it and resize. Oh, very close, nice one. Let's make it 500. By the way, I'm typing 500 just because. No specific reason. You can make it 256 or 128. It's up to you, because at the end of the day, this is going to be just an icon. So it doesn't need to have, it doesn't need to be, you know, like high resolution or anything. Let's save it as a PNG for rifle underscore icon. Let's close this and close that. Let's go here and maybe inside the pack, let's make a new folder called call it icons, and let's import the icon we just made. Double click to open it, make it user interface. Those compression settings is just to make it, you know, like lighter for the system, so it doesn't waste too much of thread or CPU power on it. Now we can put it here. Now rarity and the rest of the stats for the weapon, you can select them manually if you want. If you really want it to be just an epic or just a legendary or whatever, you know, like you can select it manually, but I will leave it on random stats, so it will generate most of the stats and the rarity for me. Can stack? No, this is a weapon, so I only need one item. Usage, in this case maybe it's not exactly useful, but say for example you are making a quest item, so you can put a usage, I don't know, like this gem will help you open a secret door, something like that, just to give the player an idea of what they can use this item for. But in this case, a weapon, we don't really need to put anything in usage. So let's go to the next step, is to add our skeletal mesh and the static mesh. Now I just remembered as well that we need to look at the sockets and make sure that we have a muzzle socket. Make sure that it's facing the X direction, and the whole weapon needs to face the Y direction. Also make sure that it's called just muzzle, not muzzle socket. And there we go. Save. We don't need anything else from here. Let's see, random stats, yes. So the random stats will generate a price. We don't need to worry about the armor. This is what you will change if you create an armor. This, this case we are creating a weapon, so weapon type is a primary, so it will be on the right shoulder, if I remember correctly. And the weapon class is a rifle, and the fire mode is full mode. Now damage delay, distance, fire rate, recoil, speeding, all of those will be generated randomly because we have the random stats. But quick, just to give you an idea of what they are. Damage, obviously how much damage it does. Damage delay, this will be helpful when you do a melee weapon, because, you know, based on the animation you want the damage to occur at a certain time. So here where you specify when you want the damage to happen, like apply damage at, let's say, 0.5 second, until the weapon like meets the opponent, for example. Distance is how far the weapon can reach. So if you do this manually, then you typically want like 5,000, 10,000, you know, whatever. A sniper maybe 20,000 units, it's up to you. Fire rate, how many bullets per second. Recoil, if I understand the word recoil, is basically the ripple or the shake that the weapon causes when it's, you know, when it bounces back. Now this is a game, so it's not gonna bounce back. Maybe if you have a PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5 DualShock, then you can make it to what do you call it in English, ripple, or, you know, like the controller can shake, you know, much harder. But we can also use the recoil to shake the character and to shake the camera. So this is what I use the recoil for. Speeding is basically, it's like the opposite of precision basically. So less speeding means the gun will be more precise. Speeding, if it's high, then the weapon will be shooting bullets all over the place. Interrupt delay, again, this is for melee weapons. If you are planning to make a combo, then this is where you specify when it's the right time to interrupt the current animation and go into the next one, which is basically the combo. How this is how the combo works. Unequipped socket, it's when you unequip the weapon from your hands and you put it, like in its sheath, or like in your do you want it in your shoulders, or do you want it around your thigh or around your belt? So I will copy this from the rifle, base the unequip and the equip as well. Unequip, paste it here, and also the equip socket, it's basically when you have it in your hand. Now for most of the weapon, this is the equip socket will be the same. Maybe for bow and arrow you want it differently, or maybe for your I don't know, to be honest. I usually put things that I'm not 100% sure how you want to use them. I usually put them as an option for you in case you want to change it, or in case your game isn't exactly what I'm making for my game. So I give you this option anyway, in case you want to change it. Otherwise, it's just the right hand. Magazine size, again, this will be generated, but you can specify how many bullets per magazine. Ammo in mag, available ammo, those you don't need to worry about, because those are used by the system to calculate how many bullets you have at the moment, and to save it. Whenever you save your character, it will save all the weapons, and each one of them will have a specific ammo availability in it, based on how much you used it and so on. Damage type is an interesting one. At the moment I have only just one, like an example damage type, but if you open it up, you can actually specify hit reaction here. So I don't know if you want, you could actually do some functions in here if you want, but for me, I just put hit reaction for you in case you want to use that. So the maybe for melee this will be very useful, because the characters or the opponent will react differently to different hits. So this is how you do it. So just to create a child of this one and then change the hit reaction. Next is the projectile. So at the moment I only have one projectile again, and it's just a simple ball, a simple glowing ball. So you are more than welcome to change the mesh here, but I don't think that you want to change anything else. In case you have like a specific way of animating the projectile, I think the best is to just right click, create a child, and then inside your child you can change the projectile movement, like speed and gravity and so on. Fraction, maybe you want to change it, bouncing, and so on. Otherwise, please leave everything else at the same. You don't need to change anything else, because this is all just the system and apply damage and so on. Oh, maybe I should actually hopefully in the next hotfix or next update I can change I will give you also the emitter, so when the bullet meets the target, then it will create some sort of explosions or whatever. So I will expose this in the next update. Hopefully I will remember that. Next, the sound, if you want to add any bullet weapon sound. Muzzle flash, we just saw a muzzle flash, so let's use that one and see how it looks. Rifle muzzle flash. Crosshair, if you want to have a specific crosshair for your weapon. So for this one I will use the gun crosshair. It's this one. Obviously these are just the textures, so you need to create a new blueprint. It's just a simple blueprint, nothing fancy, just a big panel, and inside it a small image, and you change the image here, and that's how you create a widget with your crosshair. So I will use this one, the gun crosshair, which looks like this. Animations, I will come back to this in a second. Item class typically is the pickup master. However, again, you can also create a child of it if you have a specific code that you want to add to your pickups. But in this one, I don't think that you need to do much here, because most of it is basically for the system to generate the stats and so on. So you probably would better off just leaving this alone, unless you know exactly what you're doing. Just leave it alone, create a child and do your own code, change whatever you want to change in the child. Next step is equipped. This one, if you remember from the character tutorial, we used it to determine that this particular item is equipped from the beginning and we don't want it to be sold at the vendor. So this is what you use it. Otherwise, just leave it alone. The system will use it when you equip your item. Next one is the socket offset. We don't need it for this particular weapon, or maybe we will need it. We'll see when we equip the weapon. But if you need to add any offset for the sockets, like for example the helmet, if you look at the helmet, I added 2 and 3.5. I made it slightly bigger to fit our character. Otherwise, we can leave it alone. And backpack capacity, this is only useful for the backpack. You can add, for example, for weapon, I want this backpack to have, if you are creating a backpack asset, then you can say for weapons I want it to have maybe 20 slots for the weapons, and for the armor I want it to have 50 slots for the armor, and so on and so forth. But this is not a backpack, this is a weapon, so we don't need to worry about this. Now let's go back to the animations. Now different weapons typically will come with different blend spaces and animations, like reload animation, equip animation, and so on. So this is where you add all your animations. Now I don't have anything specific here, so I will just use the standard one from the Epic store, or from the Epic starter pack. I will copy everything from here and paste it there. And I think we are good to go. So if we go to, let's say, the lobby system, I mean the lobby map. We could copy one of those, but let me show you where they exist. So inside the NIS, by the way, just a quick note, if you look at MGS, yeah, inside it you have all the data tables, and then you have a folder called components system. Here you have all the components. Those are typically, or hopefully there will be separate packs that I will sell separately, but for the multiplayer game system everything will be included, including the upcoming shall I say it? Yeah, let's say it. The upcoming vehicle and mouse system. It will also come to here. I don't know. I'm working on it. I don't know if it's gonna make it to the next update, but it's under development at the moment. So NCS is nice combat system, nice character stat system, and nice inventory system, and so on. So let's go here, blueprints, and then inside the items you have the pickup master. So if I drop one of those here and then just change the name to whatever I put in the data table, I think M4 rifle, did I call it like that? M4 rifle, yeah. So I'll just copy the name, put it here. Now this technically will just work now, so you don't need to worry about it. But I want to do one more thing, which is kind of interesting. Item details, don't worry about it. Random stats, You can click it, check it in here if you want, but it will generate it anyway because we specified that in the data table. But this is what I want to show you, the rarity loot table. So for this particular item, I want it to drop in a different percentage chances. So say for example 5% chance to drop an epic, I want it to be maybe 2% chance to drop an epic rare item, and then maybe 5% chance for legendary, rare, let's say 10% chance, and uncommon, or maybe rare, let's say 25% chance, and then the uncommon, the green, let's say 50% chance green. Common 100%, no problem, we'll leave it. Save, and I think that's it. Let me just make sure that my soldier is not saved. Okay, good. So let's go to maps. Let's start from the main menu, because now my soldier will be empty. He doesn't have any equipment or anything, just like any of your fresh characters. Start game. Boom, 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 boom. Let's take some ammos. We will need those. And here we go. You see the M4 rifle. The name is flipped. M4 rifle. It's there. So if I pick it up, look at my inventory, go to primary weapons, and there we go. It gave me a common, a gray item, and those are the stats. Let's equip it. It's there. The icons that we created earlier, and it's on our primary socket, which is the right shoulder, as I said earlier. Let's now test it. So if I press 1, the weapon is there. I only have 24 bullets. The crosshair is the square one, or the cross one, unlike the other rifle that we had, you know, the standard one. Let's take some bullets. Bomb, bomb. Okay, now when we shoot, reloads just fine, and all good. Now I think the muzzle flash is not, yeah, the muzzle flash is weird. Yep, maybe because we changed the name of the muzzle flash sockets, because now it's shooting really weird. We can play with that to see what's wrong with it. Let's do that quickly, actually. There's a socket or something like that. Problem is, yeah, I will have to look a little bit more in details in this system to see which way is the muzzle flash facing and so on. But you get the idea now. It's all working, everything in place. I just need to rotate the muzzle flash somehow. Rotation, here we go. So Z, let's make it -90. I don't really see it, and there is a way to make it black, the background. Anyway, I'm not gonna bother you with this. I will play with those settings, and once I find it, I will let you know how it goes. But there you have it. This is how you add a new weapon, and hopefully in the next one we will do maybe an armor piece or something. We will see. So until the next video, have a lovely day and bye bye.